Hi, and welcome to Week 9 of Inside the Huddle. I'm Daily Review Sports Editor Geoff Stoute here with Patterson head coach Chad Blanchard. This week's another big game for the Patterson Lumberjacks. They'll travel to place North Vermilion with a chance to at least clinch a share of the District 8-3A title. Patterson is 6-2 on the season and undefeated in district right now after starting the season 0-2. Last week, Patterson defeated Erath 43-22 in the last battle of unbeatens in District 8-3A. Sebastian Charles leads the squad this year in rushing and passing. He's completed 65% of his passes for 1,359 yards with 17 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. He's also rushed for 452 yards and 3 scores. DJ Jones is right behind, kind of an all-purpose player for the Lumberjacks. He has 435 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. He's caught 22 passes for 291 and 3 more scores, while Nehemiah Augustus leads the receivers with 22 catches for 420 yards and 5 scores. North Vermilion a week ago fell to E.D. White 45-28, and of course Patterson beat E.D. White earlier this season. Coach, since we last met in week 2, you've come a long way. You were 0-1 at the time, and since then you've won. You lost that game, but won 6 straight, and you seem to be rolling as usual. Well,
we scheduled 2 tough teams early on. We actually scheduled, in my opinion, 4 tough teams early on, and we had some growing pains to go through. We started the season, we were pretty inexperienced. We played 2 tough 5A schools. And, we got better as we went. And I think our kids know that that's important. I mean, that's something that we emphasize to them a good bit. And we've kept improving in all 3 aspects of the game really throughout the season. And, it's paid off, especially these last few weeks.
Give me your thoughts on North Vermilion. Obviously, it's a big game for y'all, but what do they bring to the table?
Well, North Vermilion runs a spread option type offense. They run a shotgun a lot. They do a good job of running the offense they run. They get their quarterback involved in the running game a good bit, a couple good receivers. So, we have to do a good job defensively in trying to contain what it is that they do. The quarterback's real elusive. He gets himself in trouble. He moves around a little bit. And, we got to make sure we contain him. Defensively, they changed it from 2 different fronts, from a 3-man front to a 4-man front. They're going to make sure they're pretty sound in what they do defensively. So, we got to try to find some things that we can take advantage of and then hopefully execute, the things that we work on.
Coming into this season, everybody knew about Chubb, second-year starter. Got a lot of playing time. Obviously started last year and did well. Everybody knew about Nehemiah and what he could do.
Right.
Knew about Michael. He was obviously hurt but came back. But one kid that's really stepped up and really just seemed to, in his senior year, and been a spark all over the place is DJ Jones.
Yeah, DJ's having a fantastic year. DJ has contributed to our team and to our program ever since he stepped foot in our program as a freshman. I mean, he's played a lot in a bunch of different ways in a bunch of different positions. And he's a hard worker. He never complains about what it is that we ask him to do. He goes to work every day, and it's great to see, it paid off for him now. And he is having a great year, both receiving, running the ball, in the return game and special teams. So we're happy for him, and he's a major contributor to what we're doing right now.
So, Coach, before we let you go, did a little something on the second round of Inside the Huddle. Little 5 questions. So just
okay,
relax.
Shoot.
Just
Go
relax.
ahead.
Okay. Easy one to start off.
All right.
Who would you consider your coaching mentor?
Good question. I've got 2. When I first started coaching in '92, I coached at Central Lafourche for Coach Bob Grove, who's in the Hall of Fame now. It was a great way to start my coaching career. He taught a young 21-year-old coach a lot about hard work and realizing that there's a lot of little grunt work things that you got to do eventually before you pay your price and be able to help out with varsity and to be able to really contribute to a varsity staff. And then Tommy Mitten, I've coached with Tommy for 16 years. He's a mentor in a bunch of different ways. He's a great friend, but I've learned everything that you can learn in the coaching business. I've learned from him. So,
all right, let's talk a little strategy. What's easier to call, 4th and goal on offense from the 5-yard line, or 4th and goal on defense from the 5-yard line?
4th and goal on offense. Oh, easily. definitely.
And
You know, some people might say it's the other way around, but I don't know if it's so much easier, but it's a lot more fun to call it on offense. You know, it's a challenge, and it's if I had to choose out of which one, I'd rather choose, you know, fourth and goal on offense.
Okay. Halloween week this week. Looking back, what's the craziest thing you ever dressed up as?
Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams, dressed like Ricky Williams one time. Me and my wife went as Ricky Williams and Mike Ditka in the suit and the wedding dress.
Man, you could have
Yeah.
been nice. You could have. Okay, and along that same theme, I've been waiting to ask this question a while.
I can't wait.
If you could be an animal, what would you be and why?
If I could be an animal, what would I be and why? Some kind of cat. You know,
Okay.
not necessarily a domestic cat, but a leopard, you know, a jaguar, a cheetah. It just looks like nothing ever bothers them. They always laid back. They, you know,
There you go.
they run around all night. They sleep all day. It's like they got it made.
And lastly, you've been asking all the coaches this, get some interesting responses. You go back to high school and play one game, what would it be and why?
I think any coach would lie if they wouldn't say it was their last high school game they played. Everybody wants to replay their last game because it's their last game, you know. Oh man, I wish I could think back that far to remember exactly who we played and what. But I mean, your last football game is a game that you would love to replay because it's your last one. You know, there's always some things you like to do a little bit different. And yeah, you know, I'd have to pick whenever the last one was, whoever it was we played back in 1986.
And tell me this, what was Assumption like in '86? How was the season?
We were okay, not bad. 4-6, so,
Okay.
you know, not great, but you know, it's okay. We had fun.
So, all right, Coach, appreciate
Good
it,
job.
and good luck to you this
All right,
week.
thank you.
All right. In other action this week, Berwick will be at home this week for their final home game of the season when they face E.D. White. The Panthers, it's a big time for the Panthers. They have a possibility if they win one of their last two. Coach Craig Brody believes they can sneak into the playoffs. Currently, with playoffs are divided into select and non-select, meaning basically private and parochial schools in one group and public schools in another. And if you separate the groups right now, Berwick is number 29 in the public school group, and they take the top 32 teams into the postseason. So there's still a lot to play for the Panthers, despite a 3-5 record this season. Last week, though, Berwick beat Haynes 41-6, which put them in a position to possibly make the playoffs with a win in one of their last two, or maybe even win both. It would be the first time since 1996 Berwick made the playoffs if they did make it. Last week against Haynes, the squad nearly pitched a shutout. Haynes scored their touchdown with less than a minute left. This season, the Panthers have been led on offense by Colin Louviere, who is the leading rusher and passer. Louviere will look to surpass the 1,000-yard mark this season. He's thrown for 925 yards with 9 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. He also leads the team in rushing with 95 carries for 390 yards and 3 touchdowns. Aldwin Williams is the team's top receiver, and he's having a great senior year as well. Louviere is a sophomore, but Williams is a senior. He's caught 39 passes for 763 yards and 8 touchdowns. E.D. White comes into the game after the beating North Vermilion last week, 45-28. They're led on offense by running backs Nick Shanklin, Jeremy Rounds, and Brandon Lejeune. Shanklin's rushed for 844 yards and 8 touchdowns to lead the squad. They run a wing T offense, so Panthers will definitely have to stop that and look to get some points on the board to hopefully secure a win. Meanwhile, in the local area, Morgan City will be at home for their final home game this season. They'll play Vanderbilt Catholic. Morgan City is 4-4 this season, but 0-3 in district. Fortunately, the Tigers have dropped their last 4 games this season. Last week, they fell to South Terrebonne 28-14. South Terrebonne is a traditionally good squad, and while Coach Scott Tragle said their record didn't indicate how good they were, considering they had played a bunch of 5A schools in pre-district, they came into last week's 0-7, but they defeated the Tigers last week 28-14. Kedrick Scott led the squad in rushing last week and leads the squad in rushing this season with 365 yards and 4 touchdowns. Quarterback Abram Hartley has thrown for 689 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, while Mekhi Richard leads the receivers with 22 catches for 397 yards and 4 touchdowns. Vanderbilt Catholic enters the game with a 2-6 overall record and 1-2 mark in district. The last week they fell to Assumption, who's one of the top teams in the district, 47-22 in district play. Vanderbilt Catholic features running back Michael LeCompte and quarterback David Yancey, who Coach Scott Tragle was impressed with about his ability to scramble in the pocket and tuck it and run, and as well as his ability to throw the ball. Central Catholic, meanwhile, will be the other team on the road this week. They'll travel to face Gaydon. The Eagles come into the game after defeating Hanson last week 52-22. Stefano Garisco leads the squad as he has all year. He's about 85 yards away from 2,000 yards for the season, and he scored 25 touchdowns. He's rushed for 1,915 yards. Quarterback Blake Byrne has thrown for 752 yards with 9 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And Greg Leger leads the receivers with 10 catches for 329 yards and 3 touchdowns. Gaydon comes into the game 2-6 this season, but at their first game of the season against Ascension Christian, they broke a 23-game losing streak. Unfortunately, they have lost their last 4 games, most recently a 53-14 loss to Vermilion Catholic a week ago. Coach Tommy Minton said they run a wing tee offense, and he expects them to put 5 men on the defensive line at the line of scrimmage to try to stop Central Catholic, since Central Catholic likes to run the ball. That's another week of Inside the Huddle. Thanks for joining.